Well, how did me being a punk go down at home? Well, my dad didn't talk to me for 2 weeks, which, as my dad didn't really talk to me much anyway, I didn't really notice, to be honest. As I've said in the book, funnily enough, he didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. He didn't talk to my sister for coming out as gay for 2 years. So I kind of got the lighter, the lighter deal. My mum, again, it's all in the book exactly when I started to dye my hair and my mum's reaction. I'd kind of wanted blue hair for quite some time, and my mum was so against me dyeing my hair any colour, even if I dyed it black or a different shade of brown, she was against it. And I just thought, well, you're in for a penny and for a pound, let's go blue. And it was funny because although I was kind of disowned quite quickly, I was then kind of adopted again very, very quickly, because in my mum's office, she went in and said, my daughter's dyed her hair blue. Another woman said, oh, my daughter's dyed her hair pink. And then they started swapping crazy colours on my behalf, which was fantastic. So it was kind of, I think I was treated a bit like a pet in the end, like my pet child, Funny enough, I had a Saturday job at the time. So my turning point, I suppose, was changing my hair colour from a boring brown to a very vivid blue. And the Saturday job, I'd kind of had it for over a year, so they couldn't sack me. And I went from boring brown to, I think it was called peacock blue at the time, crazy colour. And I walked in and it was like mouths dropping open. And again, it kind of got accepted quite quickly, which I'm really grateful for. And the funny thing is, I was selling hair dye to customers, and they'd come in and say, "Oh, can you recommend a dye? I don't want it to go green." And then they'd look at me and go, oh, "I'm so sorry, nothing wrong with your hair. Yours looks lovely, but And it was actually quite funny. But there was prejudice for having coloured hair, which I'm sure a lot of other punks can relate to. And people thought, I think because of the hype that had been in the media, that the Bill Grundy interview and the Sex Pistols were swearing and all the rest of it. People expected punks to be gobby and sweary and stuff, and I didn't swear. I'd been really brought up not to swear. I'd really been indoctrinated with that. It wasn't until I was kind of in my 30s I actually enjoyed swearing. So that goes to the state of repression in my life. And people kind of expected, you to be very working class and all the rest of it. And I wouldn't know what class to put myself in, but certainly when you come out without swearing, you're reasonably well spoken. That was quite a surprise for people. I also found that people were surprised that as a punk I could read and write. So again, and I can remember very vividly somebody. I was going into a shop and I held the door open for the person behind me, as I would normally, or they held the door out for me. And as I grabbed the door, I said thank you, and I could hear these people going, "Did she say thank you?" And then it's like, oh, I didn't think she'd be able to talk, or something like that. It was just like really bizarre what people's concepts were. Yeah, very, very strange. Whoa, how did it feel when I started looking weird walking down the street? Well, in Moredon it was quite unusual, because Moredon still is a very conservative, I suppose, stockbroker belt, would that be the word for it? Very suburban, stockbrokerish, very normal. And I did stick out like a sore thumb. But to be honest with you, with the life I'd had, as I said, I'd come from a dysfunctional family. I'd already suffered quite a considerable amount of abuse by the time I was punk. And I think because I felt different on the inside, I was already feeling that. I already felt that I was a square peg in a round hole. I already felt that I didn't fit in. I already had trouble finding the tribe that I related to as a straight person. But when I started to dress punky, I suddenly kind of found an identity that had previously been missing, and therefore I started to find my tribe. So it was like holding a kind of flag and saying, here I am. And if And my attitude was, if you wanted to talk to me, if you wanted to get to know me, and you bothered to get through the facade, you know, the image, then you were worth getting to know. And I think for a punk woman, you kind of, the spiky image, the aggressive image, it was a protection. It certainly kept a certain amount of predators away, which I'd previously encountered. And again, I thought, well, if you kind of go beyond that and you want to get to know me as a person, regardless of how I look, then maybe you're worth talking to.